What's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday night. I'm Rob Whiteside. This is ParksCenter, and tonight we're going to be talking about Walt Disney World's 50th birthday, what we saw, what we liked, what we didn't. We're going to be talking about all kinds of park news from around the hub, and we're going to finish talking a lot about Genie Plus and Lightning Lane. And here to talk about all that stuff with me, the illustrious panel, starting with Stephanie James. How are you?
Doing great. Great to see everybody.
Emma Cooley.
Hey, howdy, hey.
And straight from her, I don't know, it's like your new studio over there. It's Desi. How are you?
Sivako.
Okay. You've always wanted to be in that spot, right? That's the Sivako spot?
I have. It is.
So we were all at the 50th, October 1st, last Friday. We did not do a ParksCenter on Sunday nights because the Golden Jamboree was going on, and we figured, you guys are already doing something. We don't want to bother you with a ParksCenter. So this is our first ParksCenter back from the 50th. And I want to start this off by kind of getting first a gauge from each of you and what you thought. I know, Emma, you've been there since the 50th. So I want to start with Stephanie because I know you were there on October 1st. What was your overall feeling about being in the park on its 50th anniversary?
I felt like the park had this, and it wasn't necessarily from Disney. It was coming from the fans, the attendees. Everybody had, nines. There were some people Disney bounding. Some people looked very retro, which was neat to see. And the lines were long, but, the people made it worth it. I met some interesting folks standing in hour-long lines.
Yeah, I guess most of them, you're going to have to make friends with people when you're standing in an hour-long line. But it was nice to see you in person. I got to hang out with you and your family a little bit. That was great. Honestly, for me, when I got there, and it was ridiculous how early people got there. People got there at like 5 o'clock in the morning or earlier. We heard rumors that people were setting up lawn chairs the night before to get there. And so when we got there, I got there at 7:15, and it's ridiculous to get to a theme park at 7:15 in the morning that doesn't open at 8 o'clock. But I was late. I was late to the party. I mean, the streets were jammed with people waiting in line at the Emporium. They were waiting in line. I got in one line, started forward in it, realizing then it was a photo pass line, and then bailed out of it because it wasn't the line for the Emporium, and that was ridiculous. And so it was crowded, and at first feel, I think it felt like it was almost too crowded. Desi, were you in the park? You went to Epcot first and then came over?
I had a reservation for Epcot, and I wound up not going because the crowds looked crazy, first off, and second off, I found out I couldn't park hop to Magic Kingdom because they canceled park hopping for the day, at least to Magic Kingdom. So I didn't feel like it was worth it just because I had to work and then go over. So I didn't want to go because of the crowds and then because I couldn't park hop. So I wound up canceling my reservation for the first, and then I went on the second.
Gotcha. That was probably a good idea. Honestly, I mean, so I think unless you wanted just that feeling of being there, and I thought to myself like years ahead of time, I'd like to be on Main Street on October 1st when they turned 50. Like that was just, it meant something to me, and everybody I talked to was like, but it's an 18-month celebration. Why does that matter? And you're like, it's like you don't get it. And I'm sure the people watching, hopefully you get it. A lot of people are saying in the chat, yeah, I showed up like, 6:30 and was already late. I mean, you just wanted to be there. And I don't like to rub that in, Emma, because I think you weren't there. So, I mean, were you having FOMO at the time? Were you watching everything online? How were you reacting not being there?
I mean, I was quite literally doing a show on a mountain that had some Wi-Fi, but not a lot of internet. So I was quite literally remote from everything. So I definitely was feeling the FOMO. I would have liked to have been there on the day. I agree with you. I think there's something special, even if the celebration is 18 months long, about being there day of. So I wish I could have been there for that. But I'm glad that I still got to experience the 50th stuff this past week very early on. So.
Well, and again, it's going to be there for 18 months. Arlo said in chat, people don't get us, Rob, and it's weird. I mean, that's why we're all here. It's why you guys are watching. That's why we're on here talking about it, because we have a Disney problem. So for
if I could have gotten a reservation for Magic Kingdom, I probably would have gone. But
well,
it's like I could never get in. Every time WDWNT said, "Oh, there's more available," I'd be like, "Why couldn't you just tell us first before you dropped it to the public?"
right. No, I agree. We were actually on a staff call the night that I got mine because I think I've told this story, but our social media manager was in the middle of a pitch about like a presentation, and Tom was like, "Oh, there's more open. Everybody, quick, go get your reservations." And so I got my reservation that night, and yeah.
I think that was the night I was on Cosmic Read during the staff meeting. So
what have we learned?
Missed out.
Don't go on Cosmic Read. That's what we've learned.
Well, I'm missing the staff meeting this week too.
For a better reason.
That's
It's fine. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. So, again, like being there was it was special. It was a special day, but I feel like that they didn't do enough on that day. I was there on the 30th anniversary for Hollywood Studios. On that day, there was a presentation. There was a processional. There were speeches. There were people. There were guests. That kind of a thing on stage. None of that happened for the guests in the park that day. I believe that stuff happened the night before for press, which is unfortunate because I feel like it should have been happening on that day. There was an audio moment that played at 10 a.m. Throughout all the parks, and that was nice. But I feel like it would have been cool to have some kind of presentation at the original park. I heard there were buttons that they were giving away early in the morning. I didn't see that. That's something that I thought was cool in past grand openings, to be able to get like a button. It's just like an I was there sort of a situation. They did have some really nice park maps they were handing out to people one at a time when they came in, because they know people like me who like to grab like 80. And then on the way out, they would give you a poster, which I actually walked out of the park, got my poster, walked back in, got another map. I mean, you know what? If we're playing games, like, I'm gonna play. So when we were there and like experiencing all this, we actually did a group like a meetup for WDWNT, and we did Country Bears and we did Tiki together. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool seeing everybody. So thank you guys for everybody who came out. We got to hang out and see the bears and see the birds, and it was cool to just be hanging out. And I think Arlo actually had several people, I think Emma including you, on on Discord, holding you up so that you could see the thing and be there as part of it. So it was really neat. It was neat to have that camaraderie with all of us. Now, aside from all of that, there were a lot of cool things that we talked about leading up to it. One of them was the food. And again, I think this is going to be there for 18 months. There are 150 different food and beverage items across the entire resort. And so I wanted to start with Emma. Did you try any of this stuff when you were there? Pros, cons, excited? Did you at least get pictures? Because Desi, I know you got pictures. I saw them. So let's start with Emma.
I did. Again, my stomach is only so big, and I was only there for so long. The only item that I think I know I specifically tried was the egg rolls. And actually, those pastrami egg rolls are my favorite ones that I've had from this, or spring roll, sorry, from the spring roll cart in Magic Kingdom over near Adventureland. Those were delicious. Not exactly sure what the history is to 1971 there, but delicious nonetheless. I also, because it's my tradition to get a Mickey pretzel, I picked up one of those, and I appreciated the food wrapper situation and the popcorn, special like popcorn container as well. So I think food and beverage, I agree with Tom, is doing an excellent job with all the details for the 50th year.
Yep. So if you go to our website, wdwnt.com, check it out. We have a list of all 150 items that were available. I'll pull that up real quick here. So we can see the bathtub up here, and then there was pictures of Uncle Orville bathtub Sunday, which I saw one of our Wigs members just down one of those so that they could keep the tub, which again, I'm all about that. There's all this list of stuff, every place that's on here. But what's really neat to me is some of these places like, by the way, this is that sandwich that I know that you had,
Yes.
Desi. So, but the Cosmic Rays, like this, the 1971 meal, a barbecue chicken sandwich, chili cheese fries, fountain beverage, and a 50th cake pop. So the original restaurants had this 1971 meal. I was looking down Pecos Bill 1971 meal: beef nachos, side of yellow rice, fountain beverage, and of course a cake pop. This is not the healthiest of meals. Did we have a problem in 1971? Is that, I mean,
apparently.
yeah, exactly.
Was it the 1971 price, though? There.
Beef nacho, oh, I'm sure that wasn't the case. Beef nachos, side of yellow rice, fountain beverage, and a cake pop. I mean, I eat like a child, and this is even too much for me. What about you, Stephanie? Did you have any good food?
I did. I actually had the Walt's, I think it was a filet with the corned beef hash at the Brown Derby, and it was very good, surprisingly so, but it was very good. Brown Derby is good. But most of these, like the sweets, came out after I left. I left on the 3rd, so I wasn't able to get that, but hopefully, Emma, if you got the Uncle Orville's bathtub, that you get Pete to sign it. That would be.
Thanks. All right, Desi, what was your favorite?
Well, first off, I think Emma forgot something that she got. She got the Dole Whip with the apple cider, which looked really good. I also got the Snow White Dole Whip just because I felt like I needed to get the character Dole Whip. And I got the Mr. Toad sandwich because I had to, because it's just so cute. And I just needed that sandwich. And it actually tasted really good. It wasn't just your regular burger. It was made with sausage meat. So it kind of tasted like almost like a breakfast sandwich, but it was still really good. And we went to, so I was lucky enough to see all 3 of you this past week. And so Emma and I went to Animal Kingdom and met up at Nomad Lounge, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll get whatever the specialty 50th thing is here. And I looked on the menu, and it was like a chili dog. And I'm like, I want a chili dog while I'm sitting at Nomad Lounge. So I wound up just getting the bread service because, I mean, it's my go-to.
Yeah, well, you should not be allowed to eat anything that's not 50th anniversary. You have 150 things, Desi. You have to pace yourself. This has got to happen. I mean, it was really funny looking in our Slack that we have with the blog is that some of the reporters have these lists and they're like checking off things as they eat them and review them. And I mean, it's a lot. And so the good news is you can go to our website, see what the good and the bad are. I actually ate the Big Al burger, which sounds wrong, but it was really good. And then also had that milkshake at the Harbor House, which was pretty awesome too. And then one of our reporters, Kevin, said he needed a little bit of help reviewing this nonsense. And so I was here in the, 90-degree heat as we're trying to quickly take pictures and then eat this Dole Whip. I know, it sounds like a horrible job, but somebody had to do it. And so the bundt cakes that were, I mean, it was kind of a mess. I don't know why Adventureland isn't constantly sticky all over because of Dole Whip. I mean, it's just, it's insane how much Dole Whip there is. So a lot of good food, and like you said, Emma, they did a great job with food on this thing. And to me, they went above and beyond. I didn't expect there to be this much. When we do holidays like Christmas, we find some things in the park and here and there, but this is everywhere has stuff, and it's just, I mean, they did a really good job with it. So turning from that to merch, I know we talked a little bit about this ahead of time, Stephanie. You basically came back with nothing, so we're gonna opt you out of this conversation. But Emma, you're actually wearing some of your swag right now. What did you get that you loved, and what did you not find that you wished had been there?
So I got these. I told myself I wasn't going to do it, and then I liked them in person better than the picture that I saw, so here we are. Here are the ears, friends. Very sparkly, very fun. And I also got the pass holder pin. There we go. A little closer. Boop.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I really like that's the thing. I thought, like, the other 50th pins were kind of, I mean, it was nice. I liked that they had all the different characters, but for me, I'm getting more specific, especially with the pins that I collect. So I was just going for the pass holder one. And yeah, the Spirit jersey. I was really hoping that they would have had. And I mean, I knew this wasn't gonna be the case, but I was hoping they would have some of the ones left with the date on them. But that's okay. I like actually like the simplicity of this. I think I always worry with some of the more the spirit jerseys with the more complex designs are going to wear off in the wash. So I quite like this. I think the color is fun. But yeah, I'm surprised I did not buy more merch, but that is the extent of what I got.
So I have to stop and say thanks to Tim for the $1.99 super chat, where he feels sorry for me because I have 30 windows open. Yeah. I mean, it every week, my friend, every week. We got a lot of news to cover, so yeah, it's out of necessity, but we appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. So here's the thing too, is again, I mentioned that like being there for the merch was kind of the big thing, and we didn't know exactly what they were going to have day of. We knew of all these collections, the Vault collection, the Anniversary collection, the Deluxe collection, but we didn't know what they were going to have day of. So when we got there, they had, this, of course, it's the age of the QR code. They had a QR code for you to scan that had all of like 3 pages of PDF that had the items they had. And I just get this like anxiety of I have to have it all because this is just for today and I have to get it. So, I went and tried to get into Big Top Souvenirs. You had to do a virtual queue. That was annoying. I kept trying to refresh to get in, couldn't get in. Finally got in to the queue, but ended up going with our reporter Kevin. Thanks, Kevin, for getting me in there so that I could spend more money that I didn't have. It was fantastic. I got in there, spent that money, bought the bucket hat, bought the day of shirt, the pass holder shirt, and a couple pins. They didn't have the Magicband though, and I'm a Magicband addict. If you watch the show at all, you know I have a problem. And they had just run out of the Magicbands and the ornaments. So all of that stuff went very quickly. I think there probably were some things that lingered a little bit, like the water bottle, but the day of stuff was kind of cool. And really, the cool part about it is just that it's the day of. It's the I was there sort of a situation when you're doing it. Desi, what kind of treasures did you come back with?
Well, first off, check out my sweet shirt. But I got this at the Golden Jamboree.
Oh my gosh, is that carouselproducts.com?
It sure is.
Oh, that's one of my favorite stores. They have such great stuff over there.
I got this. I got the Golden Jamboree pin. But I also, like Disney-wise, I got the soap. I got 2 soaps because there's a limit of 2, and I'm not a crazy eBay reseller, so I didn't go back out the gates and back again to get more soap. So I only got the 2. I got some shirts. I got a Magicband. I think that's it. So did some shopping at Carousel Products and then did some shopping.
This place, Carousel Products, is that what you're talking about? Where they have this Nick's Maxi Van shirt and this 50th anniversary long sleeve shirt and this Golden Jam. Oh my gosh, there's so much good stuff here, Desi. Thank you for telling us about carouselproducts.com.
I had to text Rob and be like, save me one of those shirts because I was worried they were going to sell out. And they did, by the way, sell out of my size. So I'm glad I texted you.
Yeah, online there's only 7 extra larges remaining. Emma?
7?
Yeah, 7. All right, there we go.
Sorry, didn't interrupt you.
No, we're all good. We're all family here. It's fine. So moving on from merch to entertainment, and I'm going to classify a lot of things in entertainment, including the fact that we had some things return. And I know, Emma, you're a huge fan of entertainment. So we had the drums return in Japan, the mime return. We had some things come back to Epcot on the day, which was fantastic to see. But I also want to talk about the nighttime spectaculars. We had 2 brand new ones. They kind of debuted here and there because Epcot Forever ended on the 28th. I believe that the new one went live, Harmonious, on the 29th. And then on the 30th, you could see Enchantment, but it didn't really. That was for the press, and you could live stream it. You couldn't really see it in person until the 1st. So, did anybody here see any of the nighttime shows yet? Okay, you all did. All right.
Yes.
So Stephanie, I'm going to start with you on this one and ask you what your opinion was of the one that you saw.
Well, I saw both Enchantment and Harmonious. I saw Enchantment on the 1st, and that was probably a bad idea because there were a million people standing crowded around. There's no social distancing, obviously. I was close to the hub, and I wish I had stood back towards the corner of Casey's Corner, Plaza, that area, because I really wasn't able to see the projections down Main Street, which I think is what is the big draw the difference, the huge difference between this new show and Happily. Happily, I really felt that Enchantment needed to have more nostalgia, as we've, all said. It would have been great to open with a part of Roy's speech from the first day that the parks opened, especially on the first, and then maybe had the picture of Walt walking through Sleeping Beauty castle there, and then, go from Snow White into the newer Pixar movies and things like that, which they did do, but they took a lot of it from Happily, honestly. And I felt like the transitions didn't work as well as Happily did. Now, I really love the new song. I will say that. I love the new song. It's beautiful. It has that emotional connection. It's going to bring a tear to your eye when you're in the park. But I don't feel like overall the Enchantment really flowed as well as Happily did. And as far as Harmonious goes, suffice it to say, I was thinking, what is that supposed to be, an octopus in the middle of World Showcase looking? But I will tell you this. I have a friend who, and I won't say who, watched Harmonious on the first with the Bobs, and they were both pleased. And so there you go. That tells you something. And also, I watched an interview with Steve, I can't remember, Davidson, I think, is who was the creative director on that. And he said that Harmonious the idea came from Chapek. So, there you go.
Okay. You know what? Here's the thing. I haven't seen Harmonious yet, and I want to see it in person, so I haven't watched any of the live streams. Same thing with Enchantment. Everybody after News Tonight last week sat and that was still there, sat and hung out and watched the live stream. There was a lot of yelling and screaming. But anyway, but I waited and saw it in person, and honestly, I thought it was a great show. And so I was actually standing next to this like grumpy old guy. Tom Corliss. And when I was standing next to him, he was saying, well, that was kind of garbage, but I think it's kind of grown on him. And honestly, for me, I agree with you. Like, I have a very emotional attachment to Happily. And so I think maybe, but I had an emotional attachment to Wishes. So it took me a couple of watchings of Happily for it to grow on me to that level. But they did a lot of great things by putting Tink back in it, or keeping Tink in it. That's one of those things that I think has to always be there now. And then, I think the show itself really was good, but right now I look at it and go, it's good. It's not garbage, but it's not Happily. And so, right. That's the thing that I'm wrestling with personally. Desi, did you see either of the shows?
I haven't seen either of them in person just because it's after bedtime for the kids, but I did watch the live streams of both of them.
Thoughts?
And I don't hate either one of them. The problem with Harmonious is that the barges don't go away after the show is done. If the barges went away, I would probably really enjoy the show. But it's not worth having them there and ruining the sightline all day long just for 15 minutes of show in the evening. As for Enchantment, I didn't dislike it. It's just, I didn't cry. When Wishes went away, I was really upset. I was like, there is no way anything is going to be better than Wishes. And the first time I saw Happily Ever After, I cried. And the part that I cried at was when Moana's grandmother, as the Ray, goes up the castle, and it was an emotional thing for me. And that song is so good, the How Far I'll Go. And they kept, instead of Love is an Open Door, they had, what is it? What's the one? Oh, Into the Unknown from Frozen 2, which I'm like, why would you use a Frozen 2 song instead of Let It Go if you're going to replace the existing Frozen song? And then they replaced How Far I'll Go from Moana with We Know the Way, which just, I'm sorry, isn't as good of a song. And the fact that it wasn't the actual character singing it kind of threw me off. Like, why wouldn't you just have Tiana singing it or Moana singing it? Why bring in these, pop singers?
Okay. So you're on the fence. No, you're not on the fence. You're clearly not as happy.
I don't hate it. It's just it's not as good as Happily Ever After.
Well, I mean, I get it because I actually made my trip. Like I went a couple days earlier so that I could see the last Epcot Forever and the last Happily, because again, I agree. Happily was just kind of the perfect show. It's the first real like projection, show that we had, and the music was great, and it gave you all the feels, and it was really a great show. I think that Enchantment might grow on me a little bit more, but right now I think Happily is definitely still the one to beat, and who knows, maybe after 18 months they'll decide to kind of go back on it. Emma, final thoughts before we move on this one?
Yeah. So my biggest problem with Harmonious was the transitions, honestly. I thought it was very inclusive with all the different cultures represented, or the movies that they picked. I think that was very inclusive. But it just felt really choppy. Like there were way too many applause breaks, so the momentum of the show, it just felt like it was a lot longer than it was, which I feel like the music could have been a little better put together, so that way it could, because when I'm thinking of I'm comparing this to Happily as well. There were moments where it did stop, and there were those applause breaks in there, but the music, when it went from one song to another, there was a nice smooth transition that was very seamless, where I feel like Harmonious did not have that at all, especially a show that is focusing on the music and all of the songs that we share together. You know what I mean? That just it looks pretty. I think the water effects were cool. I thought the water screen was done very well. I think I think some of the animation on the taco barges looked kind of weird, and actually one of them broke in the middle of the performance that I watched. Part of it went black with this red light. Which was of course, something on day, I can't remember what day I saw it last week, but this is the fifth performance of this and it's already broken. But anyway, can
I agree with you, Emma? Can I say real quick, what you said about the music, I completely agree with. If they had started the show, they could say whatever the narrator was saying, and then they start the show with Mi Familia from Coco, I think that because it's talking about music and how we're all family, and that's the theme of Harmonious, or it's supposed to be, but you didn't really get that theme. And then they could have ended with the starting show, the starting music that they did, where it was a compilation between multiple different things. So it was beautiful. I agree with you completely, but I feel like they could have arranged it better to flow better.
Yeah, I feel like once we got to the end, I was like, oh, that's the point of the show. Where the heck was that the entire time? And it was a beautiful mess.
Right.
Where was this the whole show? Now, Enchantment, yeah, I'm sorry. That song is not doing it for me. Come on, we go to Disney to go to a magical place, and then saying, we are the magical, okay, I guess that can be empowering. But to me, go, reach out and find your happily ever after is more empowering to me. Go chase after your dreams. That is more empowering than oh, you're the magic, everyone's special. I'm sorry, I that. No. Yes, we all are individuals and we're unique people, but come on, I'm sorry, I can't.
Okay,
you're absolutely right. It's more internalized instead of looking to an external thing like a wish, or like you said, reaching out for your happily ever after.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure it'll grow on me too. The Main Street projections I thought were a nice addition. The pyro was nice, and I loved seeing Tink again, but yeah, I'm sorry, it's not Happily. Bring it back. Please bring it back.
Well, I don't think we're going to get rid of Harmonious anytime soon, because it's on the map now. So if it's on the map,
Oh, God.
it's permanent. So Somebody joked about this in chat, as there was a meme going around, like an apology from Disney about Enchantment, saying that it would be replaced immediately by Happily Ever After, et cetera, and people are like, is this real? But you know, I mean, I think at the very least this is with us for 18 months. I don't see. I mean, maybe they can tweak things, and like you said, the transitions. I know there were some times where it kind of ended and then the next one started, rather than, and you were just for a minute going, is it over? I'm not really sure, because again, the transitions were a little bit off. I agree with you, Desi, about the songs too. I'd like to hear the original, but you know, it's going to be tough because that Happily had all the good stuff in it, and if you want to make a show different, you've got to put different stuff in it. So that's why you have Joe Gardner. I mean, you know, and so maybe the next generation will be excited about Joe Gardner. I'm sorry, Joe. I don't know. What were you going to say, Stephanie, before we move on?
No, I agree. I just feel like it's a lot of look at what, hey, see what we can do, you know, and it really doesn't flow very well, and it kind of distracts from the messaging too, because it is so much to look at, both of them.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's move on real quick to decorations, because I feel like they did a really good job on this. This was another place where I was like, wow, they really kind of spared no expense. There was something everywhere you would go. I want to go ahead and throw the shop decorations into this one, because like that Main Street Vault store, fantastic. Mm-hmm. The Vault shop that's over at the Co-op is great, and what we've seen already of the new one that's coming, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. I mean, that's already in the Five and Dime, is great. So when you're there and you're seeing all these banners, there is no mistaking that it's a 50th. And I'm honestly worried that there would not be enough stuff out there. But they've got the statues, they've got the banners, they've got the citizen clock on Main Street painted, they've got everything that's on the castle, which is amazing. There are banners all through Epcot and Animal Kingdom and the whole deal. I'm going to start with you, Desi, and ask you what you thought in general of the decorations, and if there was something that stood out to you that was either you were surprised how good it looked in person, or you weren't expecting to see, or just that really kind of made it special.
Because it's October, it's Halloween time, I was surprised by the pumpkins. So in like August, they put out all of the Mickey pumpkins, and I was surprised, like a week or two maybe before the 50th, they switched them all out for the Cinderella pumpkins, and I thought that was kind of an interesting, cool touch. I thought they were only going to replace the ones by the castle, but no, all of them, right from when you enter the park, are all the Cinderella pumpkins now instead of the Mickey pumpkins. So that was something that was surprising to me. I really do like all of the 50th statues, the Fab 50. I think there could have been different characters that would have been better than some of them. But the thing that I was a little interested by or thought was weird was the placement of some of them. So like Figment is not on the side of the Imagination Pavilion. Mm-hmm. I felt like they could have just swapped his spot to be on the other side, so that, I mean, it could have been right at that same spot, but just on the side next to the Imagination Pavilion. So just some interesting choices on where they placed some of them. Yeah.
Okay. Emma?
Yeah, I think they did a good job with the statues. I really liked them a lot. I agree about some of the placement. I did think the Figment placement was a little weird, but it was a nice touch to have them in all four parks. And the banners actually as well. I thought it was really nice. We stayed a couple nights at Old Key West, and they had some 50th banners there. They had like each of the banners inside the parks were slightly different to match each of the park icons, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, and the stores, oh my gosh, the merchandise decorations were incredible. Again, good job, merchandise team, for doing that. That was great. Yeah, and actually all the painting that they did on Main Street as well, with the lamps and the clock, I thought were really nice too. So I appreciated everything that they did.
Awesome. And Stephanie, since I'm assuming since you've decorated your room that you're in iridescently, that you're a big fan of. I feel like you've got that
This isn't my
iridescent
daughter's
vibe.
room, but
Okay.
yeah. Okay. I have my fingernails. No, so I really liked the Mary Blair art that they put on the banners in front of the castle. And one of my favorite things, surprisingly, because I hate what they did to World of Disney, but we went to Disney Springs, and I really liked the replica, the model of the castle, and then they had these beautiful projections around it that would change, and I could just stand in that store, albeit it was a lot of people, and you probably shouldn't do that, but it was really cool to see that.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I went to the Co-op store, the Vault store there, and it was really neat to see that one with the Mr. Toad car and the banners hanging down and all that stuff. You know, when we talked about this celebration early on, I know that Tom was very much of the mindset. He's like, there's nothing vintage, there's nothing that's nostalgic about this, and I think we saw so much nostalgia pumped in to this in so many ways that we didn't expect to see, and I think that the merchandise displays is definitely one of them. I think it was really neat to see the nostalgia of the food, you know, like that there was like the Mr. Toad throwbacks and things like that. You know, so I feel like they did a fairly good job of injecting that a little bit. I wish it had been part of the nighttime show. That would have been cool to see the nostalgia there, but at least it was somewhere, and I feel like that you got a lot of people talking about, you know, I remember, like, you know, the Mr. Toad's Wild Ride and you know, thinking about the, you know, the 50 years over there. I agree with you about statues too. The statue there should have been at least one country bear there. There should have been people and things that contributed to that. Why does Cinderella have her castle there and she's not represented in a statue? That seems weird to me. You know, and
Emma's
why
parents are really upset about that.
Yeah, and Joe Gardner.
Oh my God!
Joe Gardner's there. Joe Gardner.
Play a game. Go watch News Tonight from last week.
Yes, that was something. How did you not know that? I don't know. Anyway, so the final thing I want to talk about the 50th and is the beacons, because this was something that they kind of really leaned into early, right? Originally when they made their big announcements about what was happening for the 50th, they talked about the iridescent coloring, the outfits for Mickey and Minnie, and they talked about these beacons of magic. You know, taking the park icons and making them, you know, shine for the 50th. That was in their commercial that they did. I only saw the beacon of magic for the Magic Kingdom, and that was the only one that I saw. But it to me, it was kind of cool. It was kind of emotional. I mean, you know, kind of tugged at the heartstrings in the right place, very Disney, except for the fact that when you have to line up on October 1st at like 2 hours beforehand to get to see the fireworks, and you see that thing over and over again, that starts to fall a little bit in its excitement, I think. But did you guys see any others? Was there any that you saw? Again, I'm going to start with you, Stephanie, on this one.
Yeah, the only one I didn't see was Animal Kingdom, but I really loved Epcot. I thought Epcot, I was skeptical about the lights that they were putting on and are they rusting and what is that going to do to the dome and everything, but I really like it. And then I got to see Hollywood Studios, which was really cool with Tower of Terror. So I think that this is something that should stay around in some capacity, even past the 18 months. I liked it.
Okay. Desi.
I didn't get to see any of them in person because, again, it happens after bedtime. So I never get to be there at night. But I saw, you know, pictures of it. I think the Epcot one is probably my favorite.
Okay. Emma?
Yeah, the only one I didn't see was the Studios one, but I did see Magic Kingdom before Enchantment started, and I think the Epcot one is my favorite as well. I was very happy with the points of light. I wasn't sure. I was very skeptical as well, especially when I saw the video of the testing. I was like, no,
well, I mean, they looked like those little sticker lights that you put in your closet and pop on, right? They look like that, and you think you've taken the most iconic piece of engineering that you have here and cut holes in it and put these pop lights all over the place. Man, this better be good. So, I'm excited to see it. I think that, so real quick story, our Jason Diffendahl. Everybody loves Jason. Jason, I was in the bungalow that we had for Wigs members, and he came in and with his daughter, and he looked very upset about something, and I wasn't really sure what he was upset about. It looked like maybe there had been some altercation, maybe there was a problem with the reservation, and I was like, "Is everything okay?" He goes, "No, I just saw Harmonious." So this is how much, and he keep in mind that he has a very soft spot for Illuminations. It meant a lot to him, and that going away, there will never be anything else like Illuminations. But he was almost visibly angry about Harmonious. But he said that as he turned to leave, that he did see the beacon of magic with the spaceship Earth, and that was really done right. So it's great to see that that at least these pieces, hopefully they'll stay for a while. I mean, anything that evokes magic in the parks, we want to keep and we want to see, and maybe you plus it out a little bit, maybe you keep it around. But I think that overall, my experience was that the 50th was a success, and we're going to be able to continue seeing more when we get into our next segment with Around the Hub. We're going to talk about things they've already added since October 1st, and we're excited to see what else, what other things come next. So thank you guys for talking about this one. We've got a lot more show coming up, so stick around. We'll be right back.
WDWNT presents Timekeeping, a year-by-year journey through the history of the vacation kingdom of the world. Join us for the premiere Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, or watch on demand anytime on the WDW News Today YouTube channel.
Welcome back, everybody. If you have not already, please give us a big thumbs up. We appreciate it. It helps people to find us. Make sure to chat with us in the chat, super chat, if you feel obliged. And then if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. We have a lot of great content. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up. So the next segment, we're going to be going around the hub. We're going to talk a little bit about news from around Disney. We were, like I said, off for a week. And it feels like there was a ton of stuff that happened because obviously the 50th happened. During the 50th, they bring in the press. They try to like schmooze a little bit and tell them all about the cool things that are coming up. So we got some announcements that we didn't have before. A lot of stuff happening, but let's talk about some of the 50th stuff that they've added to the list since since the 50th, really, since it started off. So we've got the port of entry has added this, which again, I mean, I cannot get enough Orange Bird, but the fact that we've got Orange Bird snuck into Epcot, good for you, boy. Good for him getting in there and being part of Epcot now. That's pretty neat. We've got that. And then we've spotted this yesterday that there's this kind of this vault collection that's been added to the Celebrity 5 and 10 on in Hollywood Studios, and these banners that have the logos of the past celebrations. this is too much. This is fantastic. This is where I'm talking about them infusing that nostalgia. This is kind of insanely cool. This thing, good Lord and butter. This thing, oh my gosh. I don't even know what the heck about this Fiesta Pyramid mega dessert, but like this looks unreal. I don't know how much this is. If it's not $90, then it's a steal. And then, we're going to continue to find other things like this, like these sunglasses, that you get a pin, an exclusive pin from Ray-Ban. Honestly, I'm a little bit of a pin person, not much of one, but if it's an exclusive one, I may be all over that. This collection, Dooney, this Magicband looks fantastic. I'm sure it will not be there by the time that I go back, but I'm a sucker, like I said, for a good Magicband. And then they've added these photo pass magic shot opportunities. This one blowing the confetti, I think, is really cool. So, with all this stuff that we've seen here, this is a marathon. There are 18 months to this thing, so they can bring out things as they go along. And so some of the stuff I look at and I go, why didn't you have this day one? Like, why weren't you ready? But I mean, there's so much that they had to start early to do, like painting the gates gold as you enter the resort, and then stuff that they did the night of, and then obviously the stuff that's kind of spreading out here. So Stephanie, any thoughts on this stuff that I'm showing here that you look at and go, oh, that's really cool, can't wait to do that next time I go?
Absolutely. I hope that it's all still there, and I hope they add more by the time I go next 4 or 5 months. So, but yes, I was with Eric Wolf, who said, I wish that they had a I am here day of pin. Like you said, maybe a button even would be great. I wish that they had that, but I would definitely buy some of this the next time we go. I'll stand in that hour-long line.
Can we split this thing? I mean,
sure, yes.
Yes.
Death by chocolate.
So apparently it's only $34. That's a steal. So Desi, I mean, I'll tell you what.
Grab a spoon.
Yeah, exactly. We'll all get in there. How about you, Desi?
Yeah, I need that chocolate pyramid. That looks amazing. And one thing that I forget who said it, but somebody said it in Slack that there was like a 20-minute ride or 20-minute wait to get on like Flight of Passage, but a 2-hour wait to get the popcorn bucket the day of. So I thought that was kind of crazy. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I took the confetti photo. I'm probably gonna keep going back, and I mean, that's one nice thing about being an annual pass holder is that we get to go back and see all these new things all year long, and it's not just one time throughout the year, so that it's just the same for us every time.
Yeah. Emma, anything cool here for you?
Yeah, I have several of those confetti photos. Another fun photo op that I had was they had a opening day ticket prop. It's the
I did that too.
Yeah, over by Liberty Square, which that was a really fun one to find. So I definitely grabbed that photo. But I think that is kind of the nice thing, I guess, that they are adding things. Like, it entices you to come back in a way, especially if you're a pass holder. Yeah, there's a lot, and so I can understand why they wouldn't want to release it all at once, but I think it does add that, makes you want to come back for the full 18 months.
Did any of you watch the TV special, the 2020 special with Whoopi Goldberg? Okay.
Whoopi Goldberg, yes.
Yeah. Well, and it's been dropped on Disney Plus now, so if you missed it on broadcast, you can find it on Disney Plus. But Stephanie, I mean, that was pretty amazing. Did you agree? Like, kind of a good mix.
I agree. I think it took you from the beginning of everything with Walt and his vision for Disneyland, and then it brought you all the way up to the present, intermixed some, great musical acts and things. I thought it was very good. So, yeah, I agree. And a lot of times, first of all, I'm a sucker for anything Disney. We've talked about that. I drink the Kool-Aid and drink some more. But they had this, when we do the parks, I always record the Disney parks parade that they do on Christmas and watch it, and it's just a big commercial, but I'm here for it. It's just a commercial for all this synergy and all these things. It's like, hey, here's a movie we got coming out, and here's a ride that's coming up, and here's Jordan Fisher to talk about the Disney Cruise Line. I'm here. It's fine. But when they did this one, it didn't feel that way to me, which was good. It felt more natural and really informational and celebrational about. I'm almost to the Muppets right now. Informational, celebrational.
That's Tuesday.
Yeah. So when I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. The one thing that set me off a little bit is that they started to pad the idea that this is an 18-month celebration, and maybe these other attractions that we were promised for the 50th. Wait a minute, they're still coming. So now they have 18 months to finish Cosmic Rewind, and to finish Tron for that matter. So then, and they can still count it as part of the 50th celebration. I think it should have been
Marketing genius?
Maybe. Let's give them credit. Let's go ahead and throw that out. That was just something that I noticed when I was looking at that I was like, that feels a little weird. So speaking of announcements and press and hype, they talked about a lot of things coming up, including a look at the new Vacation Club accommodations at the Grand Floridian. Stephanie's getting ready, so we're going to talk about that in a second. Hold on a second. So they're taking one of the other existing buildings and they're going to make a DVC. So they've got that. This to me was the big announcement that I was excited about.
Ooh,
but
yeah.
also,
Yes.
so they're doing this Magicband Plus, and again, I'm a Magicband addict, and part of me is going, well, now all of my others are garbage. I'm going to need to replace them with all of these. But I mean, for this one, this looks amazing. It looks very next generation. I'm excited about it, except for the price point on it. But this again looks like something that should have been ready day one. That's just me, because it feels like it was pretty big. They announced that Cosmic Rewind is opening in 2022. That's really vague, but okay. And then they announced it's going to be called The Wonders of Xandar. Okay, all right, that's something. And then we'll talk about that Kite Tails disaster in a minute. So let's go to our resident expert about all things hotels, Stephanie. Give me your thoughts on this. What are you thinking? You look like you're very upset.
My home resort is the Grand. It's very special to me. It's where my husband proposed. Have multiple wonderful memories there. They are diluting my my value in having my home resort there by adding this. This looks nice, but I can tell you that the building that the actual DVC rooms now are bigger. The building itself is built for the DVC. This is a conversion, so it's the height of the ceilings are not as high. It's going to feel kind of maybe smaller within the unit. I don't know. They look beautiful, but I am kind of upset about them diluting my share there. So.
Well, look at this thing too. This looks like something we made as a gimmick for like News Tonight. The way that this is sitting on the floor here, and it looks like Grandmom's waterbed with the drawers underneath. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that maybe doesn't look real, but I mean, I don't know.
They're trying to make it look more like Riviera, I think, because they'd had success with those rooms. Yeah, I think that's what's going to feel like.
It's interesting that they put the Incredibles and all this theming into the contemporary, and this one, it almost looks like they're watering it down a bit.
Mm-hmm. Trying to make it more.
Yeah. Emma?
I mean, on one hand, I guess it's a good thing to add a little more DVC capacity, because that's one of the problems is that people buy from, like, they'll either buy into Grand Californian or Aulani or Vero Beach or Hilton Head, and then use their points at Walt Disney World. So there's more demand there. So I think it's a good thing that there's going to be some more rooms for DVC members to use their points on. I have not stayed yet at those villas, but I will be staying at them in March. So I will kind of get a sense of what those or that original DVC tower is like then. But I mean, the Riviera rooms are nice. I don't enjoy this watered down theming thing that's happening, and I hope that's not the case with this room. I mean, the concept art looks nice, but I don't know. I didn't really. I watched the Incredibles room tour today, and I wasn't very thrilled about that. So my hopes are not very high for this, sadly.
Yeah, we were going to talk about that tonight, but then I decided not to, but I thought maybe at least you could give that YouTube a click, so that's why I tricked you into doing that. Anyway, so let's talk about something different, though, out of these announcements, Desi. Let's talk about the Magicband. Are you excited about these Magicbands?
Yes, oh my goodness, I'm so excited about the Magic Bands. I'm probably too excited about them. But yeah, why 2022? Why aren't they ready now? Why weren't they ready by the 50th? This seems like, if you wanted to get people excited about enchantment and how, these might glow with the show, you would have had it ready day one.
Yeah.
Can I rant for a second after Desi's done?
Rant away.
Well, I'm gonna need you to clear the topic with me before I let you rant.
About the Magic Bands specifically.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Why in the heck are they bothering to create and release a new kind of Magic Band when there is this big push to go completely mobile, just to mobile phones for your park ticket and everything? Basically, you can do everything with the app and that you could do on a Magic Band now on your phone. Like, I just don't understand it. Yes, the haptics are cool, but seriously, why? I don't.
It's probably
Because
for
money.
people like me. No, it's for people like me who are hesitant to get the app because I love Magic Bands and I don't want to use my phone. I don't want them to follow me around everywhere. They probably already do with Magic Band. But I mean, it's almost like a badge of honor to have a Magic Band when I go to the parks. I feel special.
I'm always still wearing
I don't
mine.
want to just use my phone.
I'm always still wearing mine when I get to the first gas station stop when I'm driving home, and I'm like, "Do they take this? Can I?" I will. I love the band, and I think that the app, as it will get better, etc. It is a drain on your battery. You can't always, lean into it. You have to have your phone ready at the front gate. No, this is much easier. I've talked about the fact that Disneyland, always still had your key to the world and your park ticket, and you had to have your credit card ready. This one, you've got it all in one. That was the convenience. That was the vision. I love the designs of the Magic Bands. I think there was a lot of cool things like the Magic Band sliders. I wish they still sold those. They don't do those anymore. But this technology, though, is using some of the same touch points that, I don't know if you guys remember Pal Mickey. That was a thing that you would take Mickey through the park and he would talk to you.
Yes.
Before that, there was 100 Years of Magic pin. It was about this big and it was about that thick, and when you would walk through, it would react differently. This is the kind of thing that we're going to see with this. Is it's going to be reacting differently when you're in a different place, when you tap in. It's going to be really cool. The problem that I have with this is A, I'm going to need them all, but B, the price point. The price point, what I'm hearing, is really expensive. I mean, the day of Magic Band that I missed at the Magic Kingdom was like $59.99. Magic Bands cost anywhere from $19.99 to $34.99, and
40,
then if you
yeah.
and so then if you get the Dooney, that one's more. This one, because of what it brings to the table, will probably be $80 for this Magic Band.
No. I was thinking it would be the 40 to 50.
Nope.
Well, then maybe I won't get the Magic Band.
Well, I mean, you need to have at least one, right? But I mean, it's going to interact with the golden statues, which again, if it's not going to come till 2022, we're already missing months without that, capability. So unless they're keeping these forever, which they may. Who knows? But I love this idea. I think it's really cool. I just think it's going to be really expensive. And so we'll see how it all goes. But I mean, that to me is one of the things that I think is very cool, is that it will interact and glow and all that with things. When you're watching a show, if everything... like they do this at concerts sometimes, at festivals. If music's playing and everybody's band is glowing at the same time to the music, that's kind of cool. So I mean, the glow with the show ears were a great idea, but they're heavy. You're not going to carry them with you all the time. You're going to put them in your daughter's room in the back and. No, all that stuff was really cool. The wand and all that they came out with that changed the colors. That was great. I think this is the next generation of that, which is fun. But again, we've probably talked way too much about it, and we'll talk more about it on the show when they actually come out.
When you get one.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and it's gonna be awesome. By the way, Hatbox Ghost, I believe, in the chat said, smash the like button. So don't do it for me. Do it for them. But make sure to do that if you're here. We appreciate you guys being here. Let's talk about Kite Tales, because we didn't talk about that with the 50th stuff, because I wanted to talk about the fact I haven't seen it. All I have seen is horrible news. It was closed for unforeseen circumstances, so that was one thing. Baloo, I don't know if you could tell this. This is Baloo stuck in a tree. So that happened. There's Baloo not stuck in a tree. I love our headline here that says Baloo makes a full recovery. Well, thank goodness. Thank goodness that Baloo made a full recovery. That's great. There are 2 different shows. That's interesting to me, too. So if this is as awful as people say, I've got to sit through it once, not once, but twice, because I've got to see the Lion King version and the Jungle Book version. It looks kind of neat, but this, like, Baloo being drugged by this jet ski almost looks cruel in some way to me. I don't know. Did anybody on here see Kite Tales?
No. Is there a Nemo one? Why is Crush a Kite?
They do a performance of kites on sticks by the water first before the actual show starts.
Oh.
So it's not a separate show. But I mean there is a different one for Lion King and for Jungle Book. But I don't know. I mean, I'm excited.
If they were going to have jet ski show, they should have themed it to Loki.
That's a deep cut, Desi. That's a deep cut. I mean, again, this harkens back to me to like old Six Flags Kings Dominion water ski on the lagoon shows, right? You know, where they have the people like spinning around and do the pyramids of water skiers and all that. There used to be a Goofy water skier back in the day, like a guy like Goofy would water ski around the Seven Seas Lagoon. So I mean, this kind of feels like a throwback in that way. But the kite thing, people weren't a huge fan of the kites in Epcot Forever. So when they went, you know what, kites are going to work. They're going to work somewhere. What? This is crazy, right? Like, so I love that there's something here because they built this huge amphitheater for a show that is now gone. Mm-hmm. And so they replaced it with something that you can do during the day that could be a people eater in a park that probably needs more things to do. Seemed to make sense. I don't know. I can't pass judgment on it. I haven't seen it, but all I've heard are horrible reviews so far. And Emma, you didn't go see this when you were down there?
No, I just wasn't in Animal Kingdom at the time it was happening. But the videos that I've seen...
She met up with me instead.
Yes, we went
Was
to
that the
Nomad
right move?
instead.
I don't know.
I mean, going to Nomad is always the right move. The videos that I have seen Tom post on Twitter just make me laugh so much. Like, it's almost like it's so bad what happens when the kites crash that it's good. You know? I mean, I hope that they fix the glitches because I feel like water skis flipping over is very unsafe. So that worries me. But the photos that, I think the kites look good. When they work, it's just hilarious to me that they're crashing all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. Stephanie, did you make a conscious decision not to go see this show?
No, the day we were at Animal Kingdom, it stopped. So we watched the performers walk off stage to the backstage area. That's basically all we got to see. But they had to reuse those jet skis somehow from Epcot Forever. They had to use them. They were just sitting and rotting. So.
Okay. I mean, yeah, but if you've seen the video of them pulling King Louie around or Baloo, it's like it's weird. It's weird. I hope that when I see this in person, it is much better. I hope I get a chance to see it in person. Of all the 3 of the shows that debuted with the first, this one seems like the most likely to be able to be canceled to me because it doesn't look like it has the investment in time and money that the other 2 do, and also it looks like it's got a lot of problems. There was a show back in the day that was called Surprise in the Skies where the Disney Fab Five would be in these little parasailing copter things and they'd go around in Epcot and it would spray colored smoke and things like that. And I was cast at the time and they would call it Mistake on the Lake. And that's why I put this on here because this feels like Mistake in the Lake Part 2. It's what happens when Baloo doesn't go into a tree, but he goes after a group of of guests?
True.
Because it feels like that could happen because you're right in the middle of everything there. So we'll hope that it doesn't work out that way. And let's talk.
Is that why they have because I've seen videos of this, and I'm like, why is everybody sitting in the back? Is that why? Is it just in case the kites
Probably.
slam into the theater, they're more likely going to hit the front, so therefore all of the guests are kept to the back?
Sure. Sure.
Good theory.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, I don't know. You nailed it. That's the thing. So let's talk about Remy, because Remy, I want to get that. All right, first of all, raise your hand if you actually got to ride Remy. Okay, everybody but me. Fantastic. Yeah, right. So there's a lot of merch too, which, by the way, I ran over to Epcot to try to get this, and there was a virtual queue to get into World Showplace to buy this band, and so I wept a little bit. But there's a lot of cool merchandise that they've got for Remy. I mean, this is a thing that we kind of could forget almost, because there's been a lot of pass holder and DVC and Club 33 and D23 previews of this along the way, so a lot of people have gotten to ride this before it even opened. They came out with this cool cheesecake because, you know, everybody remembers that scene where he made cheesecake. And then there's there's like a photo spot that they've got over there for this. I mean, this could have been an event unto itself, but I feel like it kind of took a back seat to the fact that people have already kind of covered this, right? The press already knew about this. All the bloggers have already written this in one way or another. So it feels like it didn't really get kind of the October 1st love that it deserved, but it was another thing that was happening there on top of everything else. And so I feel like it kind of got lost in the shuffle. So, Stephanie, I'll start with you. You said you've ridden it. Did you do a preview, or did you just happen to be able to go on here?
We did both. We did the preview for pass holder, and then we did, I think, the second. But yeah, I agree with you. It's been shown, POV ride-throughs and things like that from France, so people have already kind of known about it. But it actually was the only ride that opened. When you think about it, it was ready months before, and they held it back so that it would be the only one opening. Guardians didn't open. Tron, that kind of thing. So, yeah, it should have been a bigger deal probably than it was, but like you said, it was slowly walked through, for the past few months.
Yeah. Desi?
I feel like I wrote it so long ago that I forgot that it hasn't been open to the public. Like, I wrote it for the pass holder preview like a month ago, and I forgot that it opened on the 1st. In my head, it's just been open this whole time because I've seen people going back there. I guess it completely went out of my head that it was supposed to be on the 50th, and it's just, I forgot.
Okay. All right, Emma?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm a sucker for the pin that had the opening date on it, so I got the regular one, the limited release, and then the pass holder one is super cute because it opens up, it has the date, and it says pass holder on it. So I was surprised that they still had those pins around, but again, I feel like that merch got lost in the shuffle too, because everybody on the 1st was at Magic Kingdom getting stuff instead. But that's the thing. When Tom mentioned the thing about the black floor, I don't know if it was because if he mentioned it or not, but I literally tried to look at the screen and I tried to focus on that, but the black floor thing just kept distracting me the whole time. It's obvious that it's not painted, and I just, again, I wish there was more set dressing in some of it. There were some cool things that I didn't notice from the ride in Paris that I noticed this time in the scene where you are underneath the cart, the wheels are actually turning on the side of you.
Yes.
Which I thought was a neat detail. But again, I feel like even if they had just painted the floor just to really finish the full immersion of each room, I think that would have made it better. But I still think it's an okay ride. It's a little short, and honestly, what my real dream for this ride is if they had made the restaurant, instead of the bistro that they have in Paris, if it ended in the creperie instead and themed it to the the same
Gusto.
Making what's it called? I guess it's Bistro Chez Remy, but that same world for the creperie. I wish the ride could have exited into that.
Okay.
But alas.
But you know, the point was that they had this thing done for probably months, or could have opened it up months ago, and decided to hold it for the first, so they'd have something huge to release on the first. And then they started all these previews so that everybody, except for me, everybody else got to ride this thing ahead of time. And so, you know, it wasn't special, which was the whole point, wasn't it? That it was supposed to be the special, huge opening, and also probably designed to draw some people away from the Magic Kingdom on October 1st, so that you'd have a reason. Like originally, before I got, and Desi, just like you, before I got the first at Kingdom, I had the first at Epcot, because I thought, if I'm not going to be able to be at Kingdom, let me be at Epcot when when that attraction opens, when Harmonious opens, that there's something to do. And it feels like they just kind of dropped the ball on that. But I'm excited to ride it, despite the whatever with the black whatever. We're fine. It's all going to be fine.
No, I actually agree. I feel like if they hadn't done the pass holder previews and stuff so early, they would have not had that issue with Magic Kingdom being so crowded on the day of.
Yep, agree. All right, so one of the other things they announced with the press was they announced that there was going to be they announced when you could finally book your spacecation. Am I the first person to say that? Can I quote? Can I
Coin the phrase here.
Coin the phrase spacecation.
Trademark it.
Yep. TM, please. Thank you. So they said that October 28th was when you could start to book your spacecation that would officially open on March 1st. Then we got more news that, hey, by the way, Disney Vacation Club members, annual pass holders, Club 33 would all be able to book starting on I think it was the 7th through the 9th. And then we found out that, okay, so they booked on the 5th and 6th, and then pass holders were 7th and 9th. And then we found out that the first booking is now sold out. So this thing that we said we all want to do, I think we've all agreed we'd all like to do it, but that we all said was way overpriced. Didn't matter. People were like, boop, I got you. One of the things about DVC, though, that I found interesting as a DVC member, I don't have a ton of points, but you had to book at least one person with points, and the points were 295 points. So it was almost like they set you up to fail in that, because I don't know many people that have 295 points, and yet I also don't know how that conversion works money-wise, because I know that as a DVC member, I don't use my points for like cruises or other places other than Disney World, because it doesn't always make sense, because their conversion doesn't work out well. I can't imagine the conversion works in my favor, especially if I had those 295 points. But yeah, I mean, I don't even know what we say about this, because I assume no one here has booked. I don't know. Stephanie, have you booked one? Stephanie?
Yeah.
Hey! Tell us all about it. Tell us all about it.
Oh, I'm probably going to think better of myself and cancel it, but I have a few months to do so.
No, don't.
So I booked it for July.
Okay.
Thinking that, you know, the initial sailing is already gone. I didn't really want to go during school anyway, and so we'll see. But yeah, the thing I'm the most disappointed at is that, number one, as an annual pass holder, they still make you included, because again, it's like you're going on a cruise. Everything is included. Your meals included. They have a ticket to Hollywood Studios the one day you go to Batuu. They include that for every single person, and I'm an annual pass holder, so I said, what about that? Can I take that off the cost? No, you can't take that off the cost. Okay, so there's that. I'm double paying. And then also, you're not getting access to Batuu early. You're getting it during normal operating hours, which I think is a missed opportunity there. I think if you're wanting to make this exclusive to the hotel, you should do it prior to opening, maybe at 9 a.m. or something, have the park open at 10 a.m. or something that day, and then you get an hour of exclusivity, and then you can go into, they do allow you to leave the Star Wars area, though. I did ask that. Are we allowed to go over and do Slinky Dog? And they said yes. So we'll see. I'm not sure about all that. I'm excited to have the kids bring their droids that they've built and see how that interacts on the ship. And then, you know, see what we're going to do for our story, see how that unfolds. But yeah, like I said, I might think better of it. cancel.
No, you have to go and then come here and tell us about it.
First of all, you probably made a
Yes.
good decision because I think the weather's going to be a lot better in space in July. That's probably
Right, yeah,
probably going to be
right.
better.
Less asteroid.
Secondly, I think that if you haven't given us a like already, you should give us a like, A, because we coined Spacecation right here, and B, because Stephanie spilled the tea about this vacation. So, thumbs up, people. Emma, what do you got?
Oh my god, of course they made the DVC points amount completely ridiculous. Like, I know that's all, if not most, of the points that we have for sure. Maybe more so. Again, I'm not sure about the specific number, but I don't know. That's the thing. If you're a DVC member, I would just book, like, pay with cash outright. Like, you're going to want to use those points for the rest. I'm sure you're going to want to make a full week vacation at Disney out of this, so you're going to want to use those points for those other nights that you wouldn't be doing Galactic Starcruiser. So but of course I knew that they were going to do that because they make you do that for the member cruises on Disney Cruise Line. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised that the first sailing sold out to Golden Oak and Club 33 because those are the bungalow bougie people that can afford to do that. But you know, hey, good for you, Stephanie. I am jealous that you're going, girl, because I really want to, but it is it's just too much. I would rather go on a week-long Disney cruise than do that, honestly, for that price.
Speaking of bougie people, Desi, what do you think?
As someone who's not DVC, I have no idea what 290 something points means. How much is like a regular room?
How much is that in real dollars, are you asking? Let me just tell you that
how many points would you typically use on a normal room?
Well, it depends on where.
Depends.
Yeah, it depends on where you're staying. So some are cheaper than others.
How many points did we spend on the bungalows for 3 nights?
See, no, the bungalow. So a bungalow per night is upwards past 200 per night at a bungalow. So that's a lot. But but like, say if you were going to stay at Aulani off season, it's like 9 points per night.
It's really cheap.
Yeah, so I mean, and again, it depends on when it is that you're going to be using them, but we could definitely have another. I mean, I know that the Pressing Issues talked about it before. We could definitely have another DVC conversation because there's a bunch of us that are DVC and have pros and cons about everything, whether you bought them, aftermarket or you bought them directly from Disney, and what they offer you and how much points cost. And it's such a shell game about points because it's kind of like the old school cell plans or trying to figure out your insurance plan. It's like that kind of math when it comes to it. It's like, is it a Tuesday in September? It's going to be 11.5 points, or I mean, it's across the board. But yeah, for a bungalow for
kind
the
of
night,
like Lightning Lane.
we should talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's skip. We're going to skip over because we're running a little late here. Deluxe hours, we were just going to talk about how there's extra hours now for people who are in deluxe hotels, and that's
They're great. Lines are really short.
Epcot. Yeah, there you go. Epcot and Magic Kingdom. And then also the Pirates Adventure returned. The interactive stuff hasn't been there.
We did that.
So, yeah. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Tell me really quick about Deluxe Hours, Emma, and then we'll have Stephanie talk a little bit about Pirates, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, I went to the Magic Kingdom ones this past Wednesday, and it was fantastic. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train was the longest line at like 35 minutes, and that wasn't even a 35-minute wait. So I would definitely take advantage of those if you're staying at a deluxe or deluxe villa. Who knows how busy they're gonna get. I feel like it was just less people, maybe one because it was October, which is a lower season anyway, less crowded season. So we'll see what that's like when we get to the summer, but I still feel like, especially if you're not gonna pay for an after hours and you are staying at one of those hotels, like, take advantage of it for sure.
Jeez, deluxe hotel. All right, talk about bougie, whatever. Stephanie, Pirates?
Yeah, this is the first time that my kids had done this, and I tell you, if you're missing Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, this is a great thing to kind of supplement that, because it does have that interactivity, and you come back and you get different maps. So there's repeatability, you can get back, and they give you a very close to the Sorcerer's card at the end as your treasure that you get. So my kids had to collect those too, so it was fun.
Yeah, I really miss the Sorcerers of Magic Kingdom. I miss the Agent P over at Epcot. Like, these things are very cool, and I hope they bring DuckTales back like they talked about doing. But now that the show's canceled, who knows? So we're gonna take one more quick break. We're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about Genie Plus, Lightning Lane, what we've learned this week, and oh my gosh, I'm so afraid. But please, don't go away. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Unplanned Downtime, the YouTube channel for all your favorites, including Cosmic Read Live, discussions and Imagineering attractions, Deep in the Plus, reviewing the catalog on Disney Plus, Ink and Paint, celebrating female voices in Disney fandom, WDW News Tonight, a late-night comedy show with sketches and characters, Boxed In, opening mystery packages and viewer mail, Picky Eaters, trying to eat our way across Disney restaurants, WDW and TV RPG, a tabletop adventure set in Tokyo Disney Sea, and more of your favorites. Subscribe now at unplanneddowntime.com. Remember, it's not an accident, it's unplanned downtime.
Welcome to Deep in the Plus. Each week, join host Rob Whiteside and a panel of Disney superfans as they take a different movie or TV show from the Disney Plus catalog, tell you its history, details, give their review, and let you know if it's worth your time. Current shows, classic movies, and everything in between. Watch Deep in the Plus live Tuesday nights at 9 Eastern for new episodes, or catch Deep in the Plus anytime on YouTube at unplanneddowntime.com.
All right, welcome back. Thank you guys so much for being with us. And again, if you have not, please give us a thumbs up. It helps people find the show. We are going to be getting into our pressing issue of the week really quick here. But before I do, I want to tell you about, you just saw a commercial about some of the programming that comes to Unplanned Downtime. If you guys haven't, please go over there and subscribe. You can get it at unplanneddowntime.com, or you can go to wdwnt.tv to get right to the channel. Tomorrow night, the Ink and Paint is moving to Monday nights at 7 p.m., so make sure to catch out our Ink and Paint show that has moved to Mondays instead of Wednesdays. And then Tuesday night, man, that Deep in the Plus show that all the kids are talking about is going to be on. Desi's going to be on. We're going to be talking about Muppets Haunted Mansion. So please join us. We hope you do. Let's talk about this Genie Plus nonsense. So we had a show about this. It was the highest viewed show we had when they announced this. You all remember the catastrophe that was the announcement of Genie Plus and Lightning Lane. And it's a good thing I thought they might launch this on October 1st. And it's a good thing that they kept this out of the mix, I think, because this is a conversation we didn't want to have while we were celebrating Walt Disney World's birthday. So
They didn't want the bad press.
yeah, well, I mean, they got to rip this Band-Aid sometime, right? So they've changed all the signs from Fast Pass to Lightning Lane. If you are behind on this, the short of it is free Fast Pass is gone. It's history. It's never coming back. They stopped it. It was the last time you would have seen it was just before the parks closed. It never came back when the parks reopened. And now they've changed everything to Lightning Lane, which Josh Damaro tells us is it's for us. It's a courtesy to us. Thank you so much, Josh. We used to love you. No, he can save himself, I'm sure. But when you go back into this with Lightning Lane and Genie Plus, it is so confusing. I'm sure everyone on this panel has had a discussion with somebody in your life, like a friend who is not a Disney fan, and you go, let me tell you about this thing, and their head starts to like spin and hinge and fall off because it's so incredibly complicated. Because when we had Max Pass in California, the Max Pass program, I didn't like the fact you had to pay, but once you paid, it's like, okay, this isn't bad. $15 was the original price that you would add per person per ticket, and it gave you the ability that once you got into the park, you could make a reservation without running to a fast pass machine. But that ability was still there for you. That was still there. You could still run and pay and get a paper fast pass and not have to pay anything. And then, you could also you got your photos for free.
Your photos.
Yeah, you got your photos for free. So that was something that was kind of cool too. So then I was okay with it. I was okay with the fact that you were paying that one price. It is a little bit bougie that you would be paying this extra $15 per ticket. Not everyone can do that because they've already taxed themselves to the limit when they're buying these tickets. But $15 per ticket per day. But if you were an annual pass holder, there was a deal for you. Not with Genie Plus. Genie Plus is $15 if you're buying in Walt Disney World. It is $20 if you're buying in California. If you're buying it here, you get, or I say here because I'm closer to the East Coast than I am the West Coast, but if you're buying it for Walt Disney World, you get it for $15, and you don't get your photos included, but you do get like augmented reality photos. And one of the things that they've kind of shown us here is that, and I'm not going to lie, this is kind of cool, but that you can get this augmented reality where you can see like Cinderella's castle as the castle cake from the 25th anniversary. So as much as we hate on that, it was kind of cool. But so these augmented reality filters will be available to you for the $15, but you don't get PhotoPass. You still don't get that with your annual pass. On the West Coast, you're going to get your photos, but it's going to be a $20 cost for Genie Plus. Here's the thing, though. Genie Plus doesn't give you everything, right? It only gives you most things, and each park has an exclusion that are only Lightning Lane. They're Lightning Lane only. So if we go to Disneyland, Disneyland is going to have Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, Radiator Springs Racers, and Web Slingers for the resort. Those are the things that you're going to have to pay separately for Lightning Lane. Here's the confusing part to me is that you're going to stand in the Lightning Lane if you're using the Genie Plus, but that doesn't mean that you get Lightning Lane. Like, the naming is insane. And so for the East Coast, it's going to be 2 attractions per park for now. You can be guaranteed that when Cosmic Rewind and Tron open up, they're going to be on this list. But Magic Kingdom right now is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Space Mountain. Epcot is Frozen Ever After and Remy. Hollywood Studios is Runaway Railway and Rise. And Disney's Animal Kingdom is Flight of Passage and Expedition Everest. I honestly feel like you can wait longer in line for Navi River Journey than you do for Expedition Everest, but I guess they were looking for something there. So again, when you are describing these things to friends, family, people who are not eating, breathing, drinking Disney, Desi, like, I mean, this is a complicated process, isn't it?
Yeah. So I just don't recommend it. I mean, maybe if you're coming for your once-in-a-lifetime trip and you need to ride Rise of the Resistance, I could see paying for Lightning Lane. But it seems really convoluted. Like, it opens up midnight that you can even buy it, but then you can't book it until 7 a.m. So you have to stay up late, you have to wake up early to even have a chance to get what you want.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's just what we've all been hoping for on our restful vacations, isn't it? Stephanie, thoughts?
I have a lot of friends who are planning to go in the next 6 to 12 months, and I'm not a vacation planner, but I do help them plan their vacations, and I have an idea that I'm going to be waking up at 6 a.m. my time, Eastern time, not 7 a.m. Eastern time, to help them get these things. But I also think there's an opportunity for all of these other companies to come out with, say, Walt Disney World News Today, an app that shows you when the best time to go as a planning tool, you know, when your Lightning Lane is going to be the least expensive per person to ride Rise of the Resistance, because that's ultimately what they're trying to get at. You know, it might be $7 per person one time in January or February, and then it might go up to $15 in June and July. That's kind of what, and during Christmas and other holidays and breaks. So I think that people are going to be looking into that as well to see what the algorithm is to try to maximize their trip, but also minimize cost if they can.
Yeah, I agree. Emma? Mute, mute, mute.
You're mute.
Are you on mute? Oh man, this is. Can you unmute? And take two. And action.
So here's the tea, friends. I don't know if anybody else watched the most recent News Today video or saw the post on the website, but Disneyland Paris ended up lowering its Premier Access Lane prices. So, yes, exactly. Here's the thing. If, you are going to think about what you're spending your money on and how you want to show support or not show support with your pocketbook. You don't have to, if enough people don't buy these separate Lightning Lane things, they might just go away or lower in price. I'm just saying, we have the chance to, make a statement here that we don't want paid Fast Pass. And the key is to not buy into it. And I know it's going to be tempting. Rise, that makes sense. If you're here for once in a lifetime, or maybe you only come, every 5 or 10 years, sure, I can absolutely understand that you'd want a guarantee to get on this ride. But guess what? There's a standby line now. It's a beautiful thing. You don't have to pay for it. There's not much.
I agree with that.
Park anyway.
I agree with that. And I was never one of those that would say, okay, this standby only is a good idea. Although I've heard people talk about that and argue that point of view. Until when I was at the Magic Kingdom, and it wasn't for the ride lines were very short. The wait times were 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It was all of the food and the merchandise that had over an hour, 2-hour wait time. I waited, this is ridiculous, I waited over 2 hours to get food that I mobile ordered at Pinocchio, of all places, Pinocchio Village House, because I had 5 kids and a pregnant lady who wanted pizza. So that was the place to go. But oh my goodness, and we never got the food. I tell you, I have to say this story really quickly. We went up to try to talk to a manager and instead got a food coordinator who just said, do you want to cancel? And I said, well, now I'm so angry that I don't have my food, so yes, let me cancel my order. She said, well, you can get in line at station 3 and just order here, just as you normally would at the counter. I said, okay. And so we get in line. My husband gets in line at station 3. He gets up there and the man says, no, sir, we are prioritizing mobile orders, so you will still be moved back to the back of the line.
What?
No.
Yes. So we said, screw this, and we went to Tortuga and got our food immediately because they don't have mobile order. So this is a case in point. I really feel like I understand those people who say Lightning Lane, Fast Pass, what have you, is making it worse for standby people in the queue. It makes it longer because they're prioritizing those people. So I'm getting swayed to that that point now.
No, you know what? So let me just say though, real quick, is that I agree with you that we shouldn't do it, and if we don't, then maybe we'll have the same situation as Paris where they won't do it. And standby line is great because I hate that there was virtual queue, and if you missed your window to get on Rise from the virtual queue, you're out. You're out completely. So at least if that's the one thing you and your family are there to do, now that it's a standby line, you can do it. That's great. But when they first started talking about this, it was you can do virtual queue, or you can do Lightning Lane. Now they've gotten rid of virtual queue. So at Rise, and they're, one of the stories we kind of passed over is that it looks like they're toying with the same idea with web slingers out west, is that if they're getting rid of virtual queue, now it's going to be either you stand in the 3-hour line and you eat up that much of your very expensive day, or you just pay, if you just pay that extra $7, you might get in there and you might get the ride and not have to wait in line. And I think people will do it out of necessity. I've got to meet somebody. I wanted to wait in this ride. I've got to go here. It's the end of my trip. We want to make sure, there is going to be exceptions that do it. I hope that that's not the case. I wish the case was Genie Plus, $15, and it's whatever you want to ride, whatever attraction you want to do, because on top of this price, which is $7 to $15 per attraction, we're learning now, which if you have a family of 4 and it's a $15 attraction, that's what, $60 to ride a ride that's supposed to be included with your ticket? That kind of blows. But if they would include all of it with Genie Plus, I would be okay with that. But this Lightning Lane also, something happens, this is non-refundable, we're being told. You can't change it, and you can't get your money back.
Which is not okay. I'm sorry, that's not okay. Like, I can understand the releasing the guarantee from the boarding group, sure, because people have issues with it all the time. Because we talk about this all the time. Disney IT is terrible. If you are paying money for this upcharge, if you are buying this thing, you should get a refund if it doesn't work. Like, that is not okay. That's just like. That's the thing. Like, I know Disney is having issues with just the customer service going downhill, and this is just blatantly making it worse. Like that. No, that's not okay.
The other thing, like you're talking about, Emma, if it does go down, they don't initially, prior to COVID, they would issue a fast pass for it. I got one of those the first time I ever tried to ride it. You had to wake up at 4 a.m. and get into the park to try to get the boarding group. And as soon as our boarding group was called, the ride went down, and we just had to go to customer service, and get them to issue this fast pass, and we could come back at any point. But now, after COVID, you have to have the park pass. So that kind of throws a big wrench into things, because what if you only have a half day or a 1 day at Hollywood Studios?
Yeah, if you don't have park hopper and you can't come back.
Right. The park pass is the other thing that they've thrown in the middle of this. That's like, hey, you this is your only day to go. Because I agree with you, absolutely, Stephanie. This is your only day to go here, and they're hard to get. Hollywood Studios park passes because of people wanting to ride Rise. So you were able to get one. Your day is running out. You don't have enough time. You have to buy that. It's just like some bad villain from a Disney movie. It really is, with them going like, "Ha, you're trapped. You stayed up till midnight and you bought your fancy thing, and you got up at 7 a.m. and you booked your first ones, and you could only book 2 Lightning Lane, and then you got into the park and you decided you couldn't do it at this time, so we're not going to give you a refund for that, but we'll let you book another one." I mean, there's so many rules with this that I just don't understand how the person that isn't us watching now on this panel, how that person knows what the heck to do. And like you said, Stephanie, you're helping people to do it, but still, they must go, are you freaking kidding me? Is this really what? Because when Disney started, and we see the nostalgia, you had the ticket books, and you would go and you would pick and choose what you wanted to do, but your admission was $5, and you get this ticket book. Now admission is $120, and then on top of that, you have to pay all this money to do that. It just seems cruel. It seems confusing. Mm-hmm. It seems very un-Disney. And again, I'm okay with if you want to add the $15 fee and you get access to everything, I get it. That we have a double standard when it comes to Universal, that they charge us $90 for an express pass, but they've always done it, and it's Universal. And with Disney, we're like, oh, well, it's free. You should continue it being free. If you want to pay the charge of $15, I like the max pass. Like that model, okay, as long as they still had the free fast pass, that was great, or at least you have the ability to do standby. But this with the Lightning Lane just feels like an ugly cash grab.
Right. And here's the other thing with Universal. The other thing about Universal is that you don't have to book a time. You just get in the express lane and go as many times as you want, anytime you want. This is it's like trying to, and God forbid you don't have enough data, so you have to use the Disney Wi-Fi to book when you're in the park. The fact that you have to then take the extra time during the day to keep planning and booking these things, that's the crazy thing. It would be one thing if you could just again get in the line whenever you wanted, boom, easy, piece of cake. But no, it has to be more complicated than that.
And not to mention the fact that at Universal, they have their express passes included when you stay at their top resorts. So they're, $400 to $500 a night, somewhere comparable to deluxe resorts at Disney. And that's included. So I think that's a really good value. If you go to Universal, that's what you should do. And Disney should have that model as well.
All right, time to go off, Desi. Let them have it. Here we go.
I've never been anti-virtual queue the way that some other people have been, but maybe that's just because I live here, so if I wake up and I don't get the virtual queue, it's no big deal. I've done it before. I'm sure I'll do it again a different day. But for the people who are here for their once-in-a-lifetime vacation, if they didn't get the virtual queue, that would suck. So I would understand paying for it to make sure that you got it. Now that there is standby, I feel like the only reason they even enabled standby was to force people into buying this, because they knew that once this was enabled and people started buying it, then the standby line is going to get longer, because right now the standby line is really not that bad. I think it's been
No, it's not.
An hour to 2 hours max, and less than that fairly often. But once people start buying the Lightning Lane, that standby line is going to get very long, and it's going to be that you can't get on unless you buy the Lightning Lane. And that's basically how they're going to try to get money out of people.
So I want to stop and thank Rosita for a $50 super chat. Very, very kind. We
thank you,
appreciate it.
Rosita.
Thank you, Rosita.
I like to be on standby. Yep, that kind of Disney vacay. The adult kind. Not to worry, be happy. You know what? That's a good thing. Let's restructure a little bit. Don't worry, be happy. At the same time, when you're talking about the people who are in Lightning Lane going by you, I mean, I feel like we just need to leer at them. No, I'm just kidding. It's like,
Well,
as we
I
see
remember
Desi walking by with her Lightning Lane in hand because she's so bougie. It's gonna be fantastic. Sorry, but again, Rosita, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Yes.
when we had our in-person ParksCenter, and Jill and I were arguing that we liked not having Fast Pass at all on any ride, because first off, the lines moved so much faster. Yes, maybe part of it was COVID and it was fewer people, but we were getting on rides quicker, and it made it an even playing field. It wasn't just whoever had the most money got to go to the front of the line. It's just the same for everybody. And, I know that Tom was like, oh, no, I definitely want Fast Pass back. But I think in hindsight, he probably would say it would be better to have no Fast Pass at all than to have it like this.
No, I agree. I agree with you that I think that without Fast Pass, it's been fine. I think the only thing that I've had a complaint about of the system as it exists right now is the Park Pass reservation system. I think is unfair. And I get that it's for efficiencies, whatever. Because I will tell you that the Magic Kingdom was anything but efficient on October 1st. And they knew those people were coming because of your beloved park reservation system. Just saying.
And why are they still not letting you park hop earlier? Because at 2 p.m., there's no use for that anymore. There's no virtual queues. So we should be able to go to breakfast at Epcot and go park hop immediately over to MK or wherever.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Correct.
there is a virtual queue for Remy, right? So that's
Yeah.
still a thing, and it's still the 7 a.m., 1 o'clock thing, but I can't imagine that'll be long. I really can't. Because if they're already considering moving web slingers out of that, and web slingers is like the big thing in that park, I think you're right. I think that's the thing. It does seem unfair that we can't park hop until 2 o'clock, because we're paying the same amount we used to pay for park hopping, but we can spend less time in those parks. I mean, that doesn't seem right. But I do think that that Genie Plus model on its own would have been fine. Again, choose to do it or not. It's whatever. But this new system is going to make it confusing with Lightning Lane, and it goes back to the haves and have-nots, and they were already draining us dry with everything. And so I don't see me doing Lightning Lane. I see me doing Genie Plus possibly, but I don't see me doing Lightning Lane. And then the other thing for pass holders is there is no package.
Right.
There's no package for pass holders that says, okay, you can have the Genie Plus package added on like they used to be able to do that with Max Pass, or this tier includes Genie Plus. That to me is, again, just another slap in the face to pass holders.
Yeah.
Agreed. Like, you already... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Desi.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, with how expensive the Incredible Pass is, why isn't this included? Like, I don't understand. Why couldn't you include Genie Plus? Even if it's only, like, on certain days and there's blackout dates for it. Sure, like, why don't you include that? Like, or at least give a discount on, I don't know. That seems ridiculous to me. Like, if you can do that with your past tiers in Disneyland, why can't you do that here in Disney World? Like, I just don't get it. But and the other thing that bothers me is if you're gonna buy Genie Plus, like, why is it not the same on both coasts where you get your photos included? Especially with the not having now PhotoPass is not included with annual passes anymore in the new system. So if any, that would be the smart thing to do, Disney. Like, if you're having to pay $20 a day to get your PhotoPass included, and you go more than 5 days a year, it just makes more sense to buy the PhotoPass, and that's going to encourage people to do that more. Like, that just seemed like a mistake there, but yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it.
I feel like because they have, for pass holders, they have, you get to pick 5 days at a time to hold a reservation. But sometimes you can have a bonus reservation, and it'll just be a random star that pops up on the calendar that says, if you pick this day, it won't count against your 5 reservations you can hold at a time. So I feel like they should have like bonus pass holder, like Lightning Lane or Genie Plus days where it's like, we know that the park is going to be less busy on this day, so let's go ahead and make this a bonus pass holder day where if pass holders choose this day, they get Genie Plus included.
Yeah, let's make it more complicated, Desi.
I mean,
if it's a Tuesday and it's raining more than 1 inch, then you get it for free. But if not, then you have to stand over here.
If they don't want to give it to pass holders every day because we're in the parks all the time, then fine, I get it. But there should be at least, like, you get to choose, like, 5 days out of the year to use a Genie Plus. Instead of just, you don't get it at all unless you pay for it.
I mean, honestly, I just keep thinking of the Anderson family from Wichita that has been saving up for this trip, and all they think that they need to do is book a hotel, buy a ticket, and show up. And it's like, no, did you not make your dining plans 90 days in advance? I'm sorry, little Jenny cannot eat in Cinderella's castle. Oh, and by the way, you're not going to be able to meet her except for like 5 feet away. And then, on top of that, do you have a park pass for Magic Kingdom? Oh, I guess you're going to Animal Kingdom today. Sorry. I mean, like, this to me is the most complicated system coming out of COVID, and they just keep adding and adding and adding to it. And I talked about it earlier. I drink the Kool-Aid all the time. Ask for a second cup. But this particular Lightning Lane fiasco gets me more riled up than anything else that they've done in the past, whether it be canceling attractions or backtracking on animatronics they were going to put in, or the maintenance, all that kind of stuff. I can see why things happen, but this one in particular seems to me to be unfair. So we're way over, so I want to go around and get final thoughts from each of you guys on this one. And again, if you're at home and you have comments, we'd love to see them. See you drop them below. We want to kind of get your feedback on this and see if you think we're way off based on this stuff. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and also and come back all the time. So let's go to Stephanie first.
Well, I do think that there will be people, like you said, Desi, that are coming for the first time in a long time, or maybe their one and only trip, and they will pay for this. But like you said, Emma, hopefully the pass holders, hopefully those that come more often will hold out, and they will show Disney with their pocketbook that this is not something that everybody wants, and at least bring down the price of. And I foresee that maybe rebrands it just slightly because of the confusion of Lightning Lane, but that's included in Genie Plus, but not included with the Lightning Lane rides. Maybe they Lightning Lane Plus it.
Okay. Jeez. All right. Desi?
Yeah, well, the price already went down in Paris because nobody was using it, so let's hope that happens here too. And don't forget to tune into Deep in the Plus on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And Ink and Paint tomorrow.
Ink and Paint!
Yeah. Emma?
Yeah, I agree. Don't buy it. But if you need help navigating any of these things, including the Park Pass reservation system, I definitely recommend reaching out to the Vacationeer, which, they are the travel agent sponsor for this channel. But reach out to them. Again, they'll do all those things for you. They'll help you for free plan your vacation. So, especially when things are getting more confusing, reach out to them. But just don't buy this upgrade. Just don't do it. Please don't.
The Vacationeer, the engineers of your next magical vacation. WDWNT.travel for details. I agree. That's a good one to put out there. You know what, Chief Leaf, bless your heart. Breaking the piggy bank every week to come up with a $2 super chat.
Aw.
Can we get hashtag the white side is the right side on Carousel of Products t-shirts? No. No.
Oh,
No, we can't do that.
So no.
But thank you
Good try.
for the super chat.
Yes, but thank you for the super chat. I'm surprised it wasn't fast food related tonight, but that just goes to show you, if you throw money at us, we say your name. That's the thing we do. So thank you all so much for being on the panel. I appreciate it. And again, to end on a positive note, I think that it's exciting that the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World has begun. You have 18 months to enjoy it. There's so many things, the 150 treats, all the different merchandise lines. Remy's Ratatouille adventure, and apparently we get to include anything else they can open in the next 18 months as part of this celebration. So it's a lot of fun. If you didn't get any swag and you want some, there's this place, Carousel Products, that that Desi was talking about. I mean, it's only because Desi was talking about it, but I'm excited about this long sleeve shirt. I've been wanting to do a long sleeve shirt for a while, so that's been pretty fun. And then the Nick's Maxi Van shirts have been flying off the shelves. So look at that. Yep, Desi's got one secured. So let's not see that on eBay. Don't put it on eBay. Don't do it. Hold on to it.
That's why I ordered 2.
Oh.
Oh no.
Okay. Okay. All right. What? It's that time. Thank you guys so much. We ran long. I apologize for that, but we will see you guys on Ink and Paint tomorrow. Deep in the Plus on Tuesday. At the grocery store. I mean, we're gonna see you guys all over the place. It'll be fun. Have a great night. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Sing along.
Bum, bum, bum.